appear to be signed. That's very interesting. Anyway, let me read this to you. I came across an interesting coincidence regarding an engineer who worked for the Northrop Aircraft Company. That's the Northrop Aircraft Company. In its formative years, a Mr. Thomas H. Quayle, spelled Q-U-A-Y-L-E, and a news story about the Vice President Dan Quayle heading some sort of committee that administers the workings of all black programs for the military. The Tom Quayle above worked for Jack Northrop right from the beginning of the company, and most probably on all the original flying wings, or the original stealth designs. And folks, did you know that all of the original flying wings that were in good working condition, there was nothing wrong with them, were ordered, dismantled, and destroyed? Apparently, they were way beyond their time, and it wasn't time for them to emerge yet. In addition to his working for the company Northrop in Washington, D.C., and at Dayton, Ohio, where a lot of secret work was done, work that may have been the basis for some of the projects that now fall under the cover of black programs, that now are administered by Vice President Dan Quayle's office. I don't know if there's any relationship, that is family, between the two men, but it is an unusual name, and would not hurt to check it out. You can find some reference to Tom Quayle in a book by Ted Coleman titled Jack Northrop and the Flying Wing. In addition to the flying wing's ability to avoid radar detection, some early experimental flying wing models, or the original stealth aircraft, which is what they were, and other circular aircraft, the ARUP S-2 and the V-173, exhibited some remarkable in-flight capabilities. Examples, quotes from Ted Coleman's book. Quote, approaching military bases undetected by radar. That's on page 120, 170, and 237. Quote, unbelievable rate of climb and unbelievable performance, unquote. That's on page 120. Quote, in-flight wobble, particularly at high speed, unquote, page 119. Folks, these are all the most reported characteristics and sightings of alleged unidentified flying objects during the 1950s and 60s and 70s and 80s and right up to this very date. Remember, I'm the one who told the world that first, they're real. Second, that at least some of them are owned and operated by secret agencies of the United States government, and that I believe they're being used as a ploy to create an artificial enemy from outer space to help implement a one-world totalitarian socialist government, which will protect us from that threat. Aren't you scared? In some sightings, these objects were said to be capable of making turns at such high speeds that a human pilot would not be able to tolerate, or gravity generated. Most military contractors in the aircraft field have been experimenting with radio-controlled drone aircraft since World War II. These can be controlled from a ground station and made to perform some extraordinary maneuvers that humans cannot tolerate. The various displays of changing colored lights reported on some of these objects might only be an aid to the ground observer controller, who can tell from the changing colors the position, attitude of the craft and better control it. Or it could be just to confuse the rest of us, or scare us, or make us think that this thing is from outer space instead of from the Earth because it doesn't use the normal light pattern of aircraft, which we are all familiar with. Mr. Cooper, these were my thoughts on the matter some time ago when I lived in the United States. We don't receive many such reports here, and I have lost interest, but I would imagine over time the individuals who are putting on these displays have become more adept and imaginative. It is obvious they are trying to catch someone's attention. And that someone, folks, of course, is us. So, as I said, I love to get communications like that. Next one is from Joe and Heather in Midvale, Utah. We are writing to you concerning, this is to WWCR, we are writing to you concerning Bill Cooper's The Hour of the Time. Of all the programming on WWCR, The Hour of the Time is our favorite. We find this show thought-provoking and eye-opening. The information discussed on this program is necessary and truly something every American should be informed about. We have yet to disprove any information we have received via Bill Cooper's Hour of the Time. Even though I have to be at work early Monday morning, my wife and I stay up late just for Bill Cooper's broadcast. By all means, keep the show on the air. Sincerely, Joe and Heather. Thank you, Joe and Heather, for those kind, very kind words. And keep listening. This next letter is from Wes. And where are you at, Wes? Let me see. Columbia, South Carolina. I clipped this article out of my local paper since it seems to be unique as of right now. I thought you'd like to see it. Is this the future of our National Guard? Perhaps they would like to extend their role further to include Christmas parade security, our ball game security, our mall security, or draw your own conclusions, signed Wes. So let's see what this clipping is, folks. Let's see here. Oh, here we go. Guard tests anti-drug parole in Sumter, and this is from the Metro Region section of the state. That's the name of the newspaper, published in Columbia, South Carolina, Sunday, December 6th, 1992. Oh, that's the night that we aired the new FDIC regs. Anyway, this says cooperative program is first effort in South Carolina. For the first time in South Carolina, armed National Guard personnel patrolled crime-troubled neighborhoods in Sumter this weekend in an experimental anti-drug program that might be expanded to other cities. Now, you never saw that on the 6 o'clock news, did you? You never saw it on network television, and you never read it in your local newspaper, yet this is a blatant violation of the Constitution of the United States of America. There was no declared national emergency. There was no declared state emergency. Yet here's the National Guard patrolling civilian neighborhoods in Sumter, South Carolina. Why is the media suppressing this, and why is the Guard out acting unconstitutionally, patrolling civilian neighborhoods in an American city? These things only happened in the Soviet Union, folks. Well, what they're doing is they're testing your reaction, and they're finding out if the public is ready to capitulate and give up their Constitution and give up their Creator-endowed rights. And when you put up with this with no protest and you accept it, then you are telling those who would take over the world that you are ripe for the plucking, sheeple. Bah, bah. Sumter Police Chief Harold Johnson asked the National Guard to help patrol 35 areas in the city on Friday, Saturday, and this morning after police conducted drug sweeps in those neighborhoods earlier in the week. Drug sweep, folks. Throwing the Fourth Amendment even farther down in the trash heap and stomping on it and setting fire to it and ripping it to shreds. Johnson said he turned to the National Guard because he didn't have enough police officers to cover the large area. He said he wanted to show residents that police will work with them to eliminate crime in their neighborhoods. You see how they've twisted a blatant violation of your Creator-endowed rights, the protections guaranteed to you under the Constitution, and have said that he wanted to show residents that police will work with them to eliminate crime in their neighborhoods. That's crap, folks, and if you buy it, then you'll deserve what you get.
And there's something else you should be asking about this incident. Who gave the mayor or the police chief authority to call up the National Guard to patrol the streets of a city?
Thank you, Wes, for sending us this. I think we can make a lot of hay with this little article here. Let me just put it all in one spot and so that I can get back to it. This is, things like this are important. You may not think that they are, but they are, folks. Any subversion of our Constitution is extremely important, more than you will probably understand, except for those of you who really understand, as I do, what that document means to us and to the world. Those of you in foreign countries always wonder why it is I concentrate so much upon this country and the Constitution. Well, once you've studied the Constitution and study history, you'll realize that that document is the only document in the history of the world that ever truly set man free. And that if you're not an American citizen, you're not truly free and never have been. You don't truly have freedom of speech. You don't have the freedom to keep and bear arms. You don't have hardly any of the freedoms that we have. You see, we carry the torch of freedom, and if we drop that torch, if this nation falls, if the Constitution of the United States of America is destroyed, the human race, once again, will be enslaved and will become the property of someone else. That's why I do it. I'm not slighting those of you in foreign countries, foreign to the United States and the rest of the world. On the contrary, I would like to set you free. I would like for you to understand just what this is all about, because I know that you haven't been taught it in your schools, just as they've quit teaching it in our schools. The Constitution of the United States of America is not in the best interest of the New World Order. This next letter comes from A.V. I don't know where he's from. Oh, Anthony in Chicopee, Massachusetts. Okay, Anthony, thank you. Just a short note to let you know that I particularly enjoy William Cooper's radio show on your shortwave network. The hour of the time is both thought-provoking and informative. Please continue this type of programming and this show in particular. Also, may I please have a program guide if possible? Signed, Anthony in Chicopee, Massachusetts. Anthony, thank you very much. Also, Anthony made a sizable contribution to make sure that this program gets on 5 nights a week, 1 hour a night, immediately following Tom Valentine. And Anthony, thank you very much. I'm going to receive something in return for that. Let me see. Let's go on to the next letter. I'm trying to get as many of these letters read as possible, and I didn't pick these letters out, folks. I just grabbed a big pile right off the table. They haven't been sorted. I don't know what they're going to say. I haven't read any of them, in fact, the ones that I'm reading tonight. This is from Buenos Aires, Argentina. And who is this? Carlos. Well, that's anonymous enough. I don't think anybody will know who Carlos is if I say he's from Buenos Aires, Argentina. Dear Mr. Cooper, a couple of months ago, I had an American friend of mine order a copy of your book, Behold a Pale Horse, for me, and now I finally got hold of it. I'm halfway through the book at the moment. I'm deliberately reading it slowly because it's rather taxing on the mind and emotions, and that it is, folks. I feel there are several issues here that I was somehow already aware of, views shared by a great many people at that. But this is the first time it has all been laid before my eyes so poignantly. I entirely sympathize with your crusade against falsehood, manipulation, and dictatorship. However, I think you should not limit your scope to the U.S. alone, since this is a world problem. And Carlos, you're absolutely right. I hope you were listening a few moments ago. I'm not intentionally shirking my obligation to the world, because my goal is freedom for the world. But you have to understand that if this nation falls, because we couldn't wake the sheeple and the cattle that travel in herds across this country and go wherever the shepherd or the herdsman points them, if we can't wake them up, if this country falls, if the Constitution falls, then you're going to be a slave. No matter where you live in the world, that's the truth of the matter. You see, only the citizens of this country, the United States of America, can turn it around at this time. No one else has the freedom or the power or the method to do it. We do. So that's why I'm concentrating here. Now, I will be airing programs that concern everybody in the world, and many of you listening across the oceans and north and south of us will be really happy to hear some of the programs that we have planned in the future. So keep listening. He says, I'm sure there would be millions of people in Latin America who would go to your lectures and buy your book. Perhaps you ought to contemplate having your book translated and giving a series of lectures with an interpreter. Would you be interested in my translating Behold a Pale Horse? I certainly would, Carlos, and you will receive a letter back. I could also put you in touch with competent interpreters. As you probably know, Henry Kissinger came to Buenos Aires a few weeks ago to meet with the president and a bunch of outstanding politicians and powerful men. Both the media and the public are painfully misinformed about this man. Your lectures and the Spanish version of your book would change that, among other things. In case you decide to give a thought to my proposition, I think I should say something about myself. I graduated as well, I better not do this because I don't want to give away who he is. It might cause him problems in his country. So, while reading the book, I found certain things I don't understand. For instance, you say that the Bilderberg Group is trying to wipe out what you would consider minorities in a country like the U.S., i.e. blacks, Hispanics, etc. However, Terrence Todman, the American ambassador to Argentina, is black and allegedly a member of the CFR. As I read in the appendix on page 95, you say that the headquarters office of this group is in The Hague, Switzerland.